I've never done anything like this before, so let's have a look at that. Got this a while back. Really enjoyed having a cat. Becoming a cat person. And let's get in there. Never had a cat of my own until Mochi. Never had a cat of my own until Mochi came along. It's interesting, isn't it? Look at these tiny little nanoblocks. Fucking hell, my thumb's manky. What is that? Jeez, so anyway. Look at these tiny little nanoblocks. I got this a while back and I've not built it yet because I've been saving it to do something like this. And I keep thinking that it might be a pretty good thing to do, you know. Never done anything like this before. But as some of you may know, I do like ASMR videos in general. But I think my favourite ones are ones where people are doing things, you know, like concentrating on crafting something or so. This looks like a very complicated thing to build, so I'm definitely going to be concentrating. Jeez, like all that crinkly shit. It's fucking weird. ASMR is such a weird fucking thing. People gain it like, do you want me to crinkle a bag of stuff and whisper shite in your ear? Loads of millennials, myself included, being like, aye, that sounds fucking smashing. Upload 5,000 hours of that every second, that'll do me. Right, so this is a Calico cat. Because as you know, I like having little models of my own cat dotted about the house. And I think that is a thing about becoming a cat person. I say becoming, like, I always loved cats, but I never had one of my own. I've always had, like, you know, family cats, my mum's cat. But I never had one of my own until Mochi came along, and it's been really fulfilling, you know. It's been such a beautiful experience. Rewarding, you know. I do understand now why people sort of... I used to get annoyed with people kind of comparing pet ownership to like raising children. Because I have 3 children and it is not the same, but I'm a lot more sympathetic to that now, because where it is similar is just that sense of, you know, nurturing and just caring for someone, you know. Especially when you luck out with a particularly affectionate cat like Mochi, who gives you lots of, she loves attention, she loves snuggles, she, like, you know, she gives you kisses in the morning and stuff. They say cats aren't very affectionate. I mean, cats have a reputation for being quite aloof. But, I mean, it might be well earned, but certainly not by her. Anyway, let's get on with this. So, I've got to build this base first. So let's get on with that. Right. Never worked through a camera here, so it's kind of distorting my reality a bit. I think in some sense I'm kind of doing this to get a sense of, like, people who make ASMR all the time. I've always looked at it and thought, I bet to make that look relaxing actually takes a lot of, like, quite harrowing effort. That's my theory. So I guess I'm doing this video just to see, well, you know, firstly, how much effort it is, and whether I can do it on my own, or whether I can kind of make something that's hopefully enjoyable, listenable. But you ever see people doing something? With me, it's often with actors. I know I've got that fucking running joke about being a Welsh actor, which I guess is like certainly like with Arcade Paradise and that one about the giraffe, Lord Winklebottom. I suppose it's like kind of true, and I guess I've been playing fucking characters and whatever for a good long while. So I'm not an actor, but I do a lot of acting, I guess, is what you could probably say. I think that's fair to say. Jim Shrinker does a lot of acting. Acting out being a fucking nightmare. Can you imagine living with me? My partner is such a wonderful woman, and she puts up with a lot of shit, my God. Because I'm a creative person with a creative job. Unfortunately, a huge part of my process is to basically have a meltdown at some stage in the project and then pull it together. It looks about right, doesn't it? Right, now what else? So we've got interesting. What I'm worried about is the I've obviously pissed about with Lego in my time, but I've never made these nanoblock things, and it's weird because this is kind of like grown up Lego, right? But it's tiny Lego parts better suited to tiny hands, so it's very paradoxically grown up Lego, but very unwieldy if you are a grown up. But let's try and muddle through it. Okay, so I'll stick that there. Oh yeah. Don't eat the nanoblocks I'm trying to make. Please don't eat the nanoblocks I'm trying to make. Let's see if I can. There she is. Moch. Went to say hello to everyone. Yeah, she's very much like, if I'm ever concentrating on something, like it's usually Zoom calls, she's always like right in there, like, what the fuck's going on? Do not eat the fucking effigy of Mochi. I do apologise for this. It's so rude. Right, just stop being a little cunt, alright? Right, where were we? Tell you what, one aspect of ASMR that, I mean, this is not all ASMR, obviously, there's so many different kinds and genres and whatever, but just the working on something intricate, but through a camera, it really distorts your reality to a point where it's like, I suppose it's good in a way because it's like it's like really it's kind of like intimate and total immersion for me. So it's like, I'm not making the video, mate, I am the fucking video. But it's also like slightly tense. So that thing I was saying earlier about assuming that making ASMR probably wasn't anywhere near as relaxing as it looked, and the best stuff that's really relaxing is probably very difficult to make. It's the same with everything, isn't it? It's like, you know, comedy is a notoriously serious business to be in, and everyone's, you know, comedians are all fucking dare-faced bastards. Because you kind of have to be, I guess, to spend your life making other people laugh at things that you find traumatic about the world. Excuse me, I'm just getting a wee packet open here. And I tell you, this is a really weird exercise for me because as somebody who works on game trailers and things, at a certain point in my career, I was kind of chasing the algorithm, trying to like make videos that would impress perhaps a younger kind of gaming audience. And it's actually quite difficult to try and make something that's punchy and engaging, and you end up doing like lots of quick cuts, and you develop this sense of like, if the frame hasn't changed, you know, you get this real like pit in your stomach, you know, like, oh god, like the frame hasn't changed for, you know, more than 12 seconds. So you get this pit in your stomach, like the audience is getting bored, the audience is fucking hating this, everyone's clicked off this by now, like you need to cut to something, need to cut to something, even if you just cut into the same thing and just punch it in, you know, just do something to the frame. And when you make stuff like that, you kind of like, it's like engineered panic almost, you know, you're constantly just trying to make things punchy and hectic, and you know, so doing something like this is like, it's actually like fighting a lot of creative instincts to be like, I need to sex this up a bit, otherwise it's going to be fucking, you know, nobody's going to watch it and nobody's going to care. But what I also need to keep in mind is that, like, first of all, this has an audience of like, you know, in my head, well, as far as I'm concerned, this has an audience of like a few people on the Discord. I'm basically making this for you guys, and if yous like it, great, and if yous don't bother, also great. You know, we're just hanging out. This is like I'm hanging out with you, but you know, delayed. That's how I'm seeing it. It's like a time shifted hangout. What do you make of that, eh? Try to fucking figure something out here. I tell you what, autofocus has come a long way in the last couple of decades. It's one example of like how filmmaking in general has like completely changed, like with YouTube and stuff like that. I know this is just like old man fucking talks about the past or whatever, but like, I'm gonna say it, back in my day when I was learning how to do this stuff, you know, professionally, it's one of the many things that's changed about the craft of filmmaking. If you're alright with me being a wank about it, because I'm gonna say it, back in my day when we were learning how to make this shit in college, there were certain rules that you just did not fucking break, right? Stuff like leaving the camera on auto. You do not leave the camera on auto. You don't use autofocus for anything. You can't rely on it. It's, you know, it's never as good as like a manual focus pull. And it's this sort of thing that separates the amateurs from the professionals, essentially, right? So auto white balance and autofocus, you turn all that shit off. And then also stuff like jump cuts. Jump cuts are no. A jump cut, it was considered a technical error. And apart from like really like extraordinary circumstances where it was justified by the piece, you know, but those were few and far between. You know, you did see jump cuts in Hollywood films like every now and then. But like it was always to sort of illustrate something like, you know, characters losing his mind and having a manic episode or something. You know, it was never sort of par for the course. And of course, what we have now is we have YouTube, where You got all this quick turnaround content, often just being self-filmed by someone, not necessarily someone who doesn't have like filmmaking expertise or talent, but just someone who just is just doing something by themselves and trying to get an edit done so quickly that you just kind of do it. And like, I need to make a cut here, okay, so you just do it. You don't think, right, I have to cut that with a cutaway. So that led to like jump cuts being normalized, and I've noticed that therefore they've been normalized not just in internet video, but they've just been normalized in like television drama and film, and it's just considered like a legitimate technique now, I guess, to do a jump cut. Yeah, you see actual professional fucking videos now where they've just like put all the good takes together and they haven't made any attempt to mask the join, because they don't fucking need to, because there is a precedent there for the audience to be like, yeah, it's fine. That's fine. That looks legit, and not knocking it. It's just one of the many things that's different about filmmaking. And it's an ever-changing sort of landscape, the democratization of it, which has been the dangers of that have been quite overblown, because I remember all the old guys when I was learning. These were all people who were like, fucking hell, look at this old man trying to put two tiny bits of fucking Lego together. I might have to do that outside of the camera, bear with me. So we were being taught stuff, and a lot of the lecturers teaching in what would be our equivalent of a community college, teaching filmmaking to a bunch of fucking no-hopers like me, they weren't doing that because that was their passion. They were doing it because they needed a quick fucking buck, Nobody, you're not like an AVT lecturer in fucking Sight Hill because that's your passion, So all these perfectly lovely people, don't get me wrong, like nothing against them. They taught me a lot of stuff. It's just like, they certainly weren't doing what I would like to do with my life. But I wouldn't say no to it because I'm an adult with responsibilities, so I get it, But anyway, with the democratization of media, with the internet and stuff, I remember there being a lot of worry from those guys at the time about how, if everyone's a fucking citizen filmmaker, if everyone's a citizen journalist, if everyone's a citizen journalist, what happens to the journalists? Surely then the craft is devalued. And the same with filmmaking. If everyone's a fucking filmmaker, if everyone's a radio host, podcasts and everything, if folk are just making this shit as a hobby, then and it's standards are lowered to the point where people just like listening to that, then looks about right, doesn't it? Then what use is there in having a professional fucking filmmaker doing stuff to a professional standard that nobody cares about, and having to be paid, quite legitimate concerns, and certainly every aspect of the media is affected by that equation, changing on us. Oh, fuck it. All right, okay. But I think the thing that none of us factored in, or those people didn't factor in back then, is that, like, that's not the same fucking size, is it? Oh, you're fucking joking me. How am I meant to know the difference between that and that on the diagram? Fuck's sake, man. Oh, it's clearly the short one there, so... Fuck me. What have I got myself in? Why am I doing this? What's wrong with me? Yeah, so... What was I saying? Lost my train of thought there. Yeah, the thing that people didn't take into account was, like... Okay, but back then, the idea of a YouTuber being a fucking job that people can do. There's a wee hair there, that's disgusting. Being a job that people can do. The concept just didn't exist. It's just completely fucking... It's so weird to think back to a time when so many things we now take for granted as generally part of life, like, you know, the word influencer, just I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it existed. Certainly not in the context it's used now. You know, YouTuber obviously wasn't a word that existed, but the very concept of, like, you had people like Consylvania and stuff doing kind of YouTube before YouTube, you know, and you had Rob Brydon doing stuff like Marion and Jeff, which was the idea of, like, somebody doing a vlog, and you know, and it's quite prescient because I'm pretty sure when he was doing that, like, once again, I'm not even sure the word vlog had fucking even been conceived of. So it's very weird that, like, you know, people were thinking along those lines way before the infrastructure and the culture existed. But, well, that's how you get pioneers, right? People have to invent this stuff before it happens, I guess. There's a lot of stuff about making stuff for the internet that, to swing it back round, that I find really, like, goes against my instincts as a... I'm going to say as a filmmaker. I'm not a filmmaker, but I guess video producer is I guess, the preferred term. You know, it's a tough landscape to kind of navigate if you're... Alright, so it's the blue one is that, and the red one's the long ones. I see. Right, okay. So it's telling you there that, like, that's how you know the difference. It's like blue ones are short and red ones are big. Blue short, red big. So those are the short ones. So it's short ones right at the back here, but these ones are long. Okay, that's fine. So one thing I have realized over the past few years is, like, as you get older, your ambitions kind of evaporate away as you kind of discover your own limits and your own true self, and your limits change obviously as you grow. You become better at some things and worse at others as you're, according to the whims of biology and whatever. But anyway, the one thing I've realized is that, like, when I used to sort of be very, for fuck's sake, I used to be very, kind of convinced when I was young that, like, I would end up making films, proper films. At one point, my dad was trying to get the money together to send me to the New York Film Academy, which obviously would have been wonderful. And then he lost his job, and that just never happened. But he was at one point trying to, and he always felt guilty for that. He confessed to me much later in life, like literally in the last couple of years, that he always regretted not being able to send me to the New York Film Academy. And it was like one of the great regrets of his life, because he felt like he hadn't done... He wasn't a good parent because he'd failed to do that. And I was like, Dad, like, you should have talked to me about this when, you know, you should have talked to me about this at the time, because I would have told you that, because, like, I wasn't an asshole when I was. I think every man is an asshole. Until they learn not to be. But like like I wasn't like an unreasonable and sort of materialistic and horrid child. Like I didn't even know he was trying to do this, and it really felt for him that he had this kind of private struggle, and which gave him like feelings of inadequacy about how good a father he was, because he tried to do something for me and he just didn't have the money. And it's like, Dad, like would I be a failure if I couldn't send Mia to the New York Film Academy? Because, like, you know, would you I'm missing a bit here, like, you know, would you consider me an inadequate father to your grandchildren if I failed to, you know, raise fucking 50 grand a term for some prestigious foreign film school? Not to mention how much it would cost to like sustain someone fucking living in New York. You know, like it was. He got this notion in his head because I think I mentioned that I would love to do it. But it was no more than that. It was no more of a wistful sort of like, oh God, wouldn't that be great? God, wouldn't that be great to come from a fucking loaded family who could just send their... But, you know, I never for one second, like... I never for one second actually thought of it as a possibility. I think I might have just mentioned it in passing as a sort of like, oh, wouldn't that be great? My poor old dad fucking harboured that for years. It's really nice to have, like... I mean, oh, what a wonderful father, right? I said to him, like, you daft old bugger, like, this is not evidence that you're inadequate as a father. This is like supreme evidence that you're one of the best fathers that anyone could ever ask for, you know. God, I can't believe he lived with that for so long. He lived with that for about 20 years until he had a conversation with me about it. He's like, yeah, I was really, really upset that I never got to make that happen for you. And I think I even said, oh, you daft old bugger, give us a hug, you know. It's hard to... I don't know how the fuck I got onto this. It's hard to live up to the expectations that we put on ourselves and that society puts on us as parents. And this is true of being a cat parent as much as it is of being, you know, parent of human children. I know whereof I fucking speak, because, you know, the cat sort of... They call it cat parenting now. It used to just be having a fucking pet. But you know, the cat parenting industry takes a lot of its cues from the parenting industry in terms of, like, you get a lot of really similar kind of emotional blackmailing going on, because, like, for example, you get bombarded with adverts about, like, you know, buying the premium organic milk formula, because don't you want to do right by your child? Don't you want to, you know, and if you're not, like, if you're not buying the most expensive stuff, if you don't have the most expensive bottle sterilizer and the most expensive pram and the most, you know, and all this stuff, and like it's basically made out that you're a bad parent. Like, well, don't you love your kids? Don't you want what's best for them? You know, it's that sort of insidious shit. And the cat parenting industry takes all the same... It takes its cues from that. It's all the same shit. It's all like, you get these subscription cat food brands that are ridiculously expensive, and it's like human grade meat, and all the marketing is just like, don't you want what's best for your little Charlie? And I'm like, yeah, but I mean, I can't afford to feed them fucking foie gras. I mean, having said that, we are fucking bankrupting ourselves at the moment, giving that little bastard Encore, because it's literally the only thing she will eat. Well, if you've made it this far, I can only assume you're just someone who loves being bored, or you're already asleep, or I don't know, you're just concentrating on something else. You just got me fucking around with some Lego in the background. Not Lego, Nanoblocks, better get that right. Don't want to lose out on any future sponsorship deals, you know. That lucrative again. That lucrative market. I mean, I tell you what, that Maria from Gentle Whispering, she fucking makes a lot of money from the old a bunch of fucking bits. I haven't got a pop shield on this mic, so it might be fucking horrible for the old popping. We'll just have to see when I get it into the but you know, you'll just have to deal with that if that's the case, because it's too late now. Right, beautiful. So has that got everything? So I need right, I need a black one of them. Oh, we're surely in the home stretch now. Fuck's sake. I think all these bits are just like the individual single blocks, which is frankly quite a harrowing prospect at this stage, but okay, we'll just have to make do. We'll just have to see if Jim Trinker can manipulate his digits to such a degree as to satisfy the construction requirements of this build. It's getting quite tense. So what the fuck is that bit of black stuff in there? Oh, I can't be bothered getting it. It's just gonna have to. It's just gonna have that bit of lint is just gonna have to live in the model, because, like, can you imagine? Fuck's sake. That's it. We're getting to the stage of the game now where, like, anytime I put a new bit in, it might dislodge a previous bit. So it's, in that sense, probably got it out. In that sense, probably quite a strong analog for software development. When you're, so I'm told, and you get to a point where it's just like, I mean, we could add that feature, but it might break 9 other features, so maybe no. There's all these, like, cost-benefit equations that swathes of the audience don't really appreciate. Well, because fucking idiots on Twitter just sit there and go, why don't you just make it not buggy? So, very interesting. It's starting to look like a cat, you know. It's just a little cat loafing with their hands tucked in, with their legs tucked in, their front legs. It's already looking kind of adorable, actually. I mean, you know, as much as a fucking headless bottom half of a cat's body can be adorable. You know, I was singing the praises earlier about how good autofocus is these days. I'm getting annoyed with the autofocus for not anticipating my needs as somebody who needs to be able to look at the instructions and the product at the same time through the screen. It's being very rude, because look at that. How am I meant? Look at that. I'm concentrating on this here. How am I meant to see that? How am I meant to see that? Why don't you just focus on both things at once? Why don't you just? Oh, now you do it. Was that pointed? That felt pointed, actually. That's a wee fucking cat's head. Look at that. It's a bit flimsy. Don't know how it's gonna. Guess I'm just gonna have to trust the nanoblock system. Okay. Wee cat head. That's not creepy at all. I've had a brilliant week. Professionally as well. the fuck was I even talking about? That's fucking beautiful, isn't it? Oh, right, okay. So, yeah, let's put that on that. We need to turn the body over, and now we need to add the little footses. So yeah, okay. It's very interesting, actually. So there is quite a lot of wee fiddly bits now. But that's basically all that's a couple of wee bits in here. I don't know, don't lose that. I don't know if there's any extras, because a lot of the times they'll just throw in a couple of spares, won't they? But who fucking knows? Alright, I can already see there is a spare actually, because there's only one pink piece in the whole thing, and we've got a pink piece there. So there's obviously a few spares, so what I need to do now is not panic when there are bits left over. So, I'm assuming that you guys will want to see whether or not I'm lining things up properly. So, right, so I need 2 square 3s and a T-junction, not a T-junction, you know what I mean? What's interesting about that is that I'm not actually sure I have any square 3. Oh, I've got one there. There's a square 3. Oh, no, it's not a square 3 at all, because why would you have 2 square 3s in a row where you could just... Ah, right, so I need one of them. One of them. Another one of them. One of them. Huh. And one of them. All right. Okay, we're now in the final stages of the build. And I'm really fucking excited because I'm not joking, I've had this sitting on my desk. I bought it on a whim ages ago. It was like £8 on Amazon or something. I thought, I'll buy that because I wouldn't mind a wee model of a Calico, because the one thing about when you're like a serious cat parent, as I am, as I'm sure you know, not only do you have a cat living in your house, but your entire house becomes a shrine to the fucking cat. So something's fucking gone wrong there, or has it? I don't know. I'm so confused, but I feel like there's like an entire step that's just not in the instructions, or more likely I'm just an idiot and I've missed something fundamental. But I don't I need like 2 more of these and I don't have them. So that's insane. But I think like all we've got left now is I'm a fucking idiot. I've definitely fucking missed something here and no done something properly. But you know what? It's all good because I think there's enough spares in here that it doesn't actually matter. I think that's my... Yeah, because there's got to be something on there. Okay, well that's fine. Look, we'll fucking muddle through because... I think I've missed a step, but I also think I can't have missed a step because, like, there's just not enough bits to, I don't know. Although part of me wonders if, like, if the manufacturers of this are like, it's probably boring to build a wee fucking Lego cat, right? What if we put in a bit of tension toward the end where we're like, what if we fuck about and, like, you know, tell them they've missed a bit? What if they've no missed a bit? Aye, but we'll just make them think they have. Take one of the steps out of the instructions and then throw in some extra bits that they don't need and withhold bits that they do need, and we'll just see how it pans out. You can't fucking do that to people. I fucking can. Watch me. I would really feel a lot better if this had, like, some structural support, but it would also, like, make the cat look like fucking Brendan Fraser, so... Let's try this. Hey, it's my fucking nano cat. I can do what I want, right? It just looks like a wee Calico with a wee wispy beard now, but structurally a lot more sound, so I might just keep that. Yeah, okay, so... No, that looks fucking stupid. I do apologise. What am I even thinking about? Watch this. The act of taking this off will ruin the whole thing. Fucking told you. Oh, that's horrific. Jim Trinker, can he follow instructions to fucking save his life? Oh, fuck, I've broken the cat. I've broken the cat. Look. Look, he just looks like that now. He's an older cat with a bit of a Bruce Campbell chin, and you're just going to have to deal with it. He's a cat with a longer face, right? So, right, what have we got here? What else have we got here? So I wanna stick these bits on here, and yeah, because we have... So we've got his wee footsies. Something, like, really beautiful about just the fact that the cat is loafing. It's one of my favourite things that Mochi does. So when I saw it on the listing, I was like, I've got to have that on my desk somewhere. Built, obviously. Didn't anticipate having to fucking... I don't know why we've got all these extra little bits, but what I do like about it is that there's, like, colour options, you know? You can be like, well, what if this cat has a ginger arm? Because calicos are like that, you know? There's no standard calico pattern. They're just calicos. It's not perfect, right? But but look, I mean, I'm not being funny. Without that piece there, the head is just too flimsy. It's pretty badly designed, actually. I'm gonna see if there's another wee bit I can. I'm gonna see if there's another wee bit I can just stick on there. Give me a little bit of a black and white beard, you know. I reckon Mochi's dad was a black and white fucking long-haired thing, because she's a short hair, but her mum was a tiny little slip of a thing. And slip of a thing, I've never said that before. But yeah, she was such a wee thing, you know. Oh, that actually looks alright, actually. That's pretty good. Just looks like he's going down for a bit of milk, doesn't he? Yeah, but Mochi's mum was she was a tiny little cat. So this is a fiddly bit now. Because that's flimsy. That's never going to fucking stay on. At some point, Mochi herself will investigate this and probably batter it off the desk. She's perturbed at the moment because I'm doing this on the bit where there's usually a blanket that she can... Shall I give him a big fucking long tail? I think I should. Do you know what I think I'm going to give him? Because in our world we can do anything we like. Learned that from Bob Ross. I'm going to give him a little white bit at the end of his tail. Little white tip. Because, well, there's nothing to say that a calico doesn't have a big black tail with a fucking bookended by a ginger bit and a white bit. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? I'm quite pleased with that. Alright, shall we show it to Madam? Don't eat it. Don't eat it, for fuck's sake. Here. Give him a kiss. Give him a kiss, go on. No. Oh shit! She's basically she's trying to attack him. Well, I think that fucking answers that, doesn't it? You fucking terror.